Thank you, Congresswoman Miller. Appreciate your efforts and leadership on this very critical and vital topic. I rise today in defense of the God-given right of parents to guide and shape the education of their children. Preparing our children for the world and teaching them the skills they need to be successful adults is not only a parent's right, it's also their responsibility. Unfortunately, it is one of many of our sacred rights that my Democrat colleagues want to rip away and give to the federal government. Having already corrupted our higher education system with anti-American ideology, the Democrats are now pushing their indoctrination program down to K through 12. This may sound like partisan rhetoric, but my colleagues on the other side of the aisle aren't hiding their intentions. Their Build Back Broke program includes a $10 billion environmental justice slush fund that will be used to push the Green New Deal in universities. They are incorporating divisive, racist ideologies like critical race theory into classrooms across the country. They will try to say that's not true, but don't buy their lie. Regardless of what you name it, any curriculum that teaches kids that they are inherently racist or hopelessly victims simply because of the color of their skin is itself racist. It runs counter to the American ideal. That's not freedom of ideas, that's indoctrination. They are working actively to push parents out of every aspect of our children's education. Don't believe it? In Loudoun County, Virginia, just across the river here, any parent wanting to review the CRT components of the curriculum is required to sign a non-disclosure agreement, a legally binding document that forbids them from sharing what they find out. What is it in that curriculum that they don't want people to find out about? And once they find out about it, why don't they want it to be shared? I come from Florida, a state where we value transparency and the sunshine. We have very strict sunshine laws. This would never fly in the state of Florida. We're not afraid of what our government's doing there. In fact, we want people to know more about it. The COVID pandemic and our country's response to it will have long-lasting effects on our nation. Perhaps one of the most destructive of these aspects is the developmental damage inflicted on our children because their needs were placed last. If there's any silver lining at all to the pandemic, it's that parents whose children who were subjected to school shutdowns were finally able to experience firsthand what they're being taught. They've responded with anger and frustration at the politicians who have allowed this travesty to occur. Unfortunately, the Democrat response to this nationwide movement has been to treat concerned parents as domestic terrorists. And they've weaponized the Justice Department in an effort to get these parents to sit down and shut up. Terry McAuliffe's statement that he doesn't believe parents should tell schools what to teach was a horrifying peer into the soul of what radical progressives truly believe, that Big Brother, the federal government, knows best and should be given full autonomy to control our lives. But Virginians put the Democrats on notice last night. America rejects their efforts to ram through a toxic platform of cradle-to-grave government dependence. This doesn't just include federal overreach in our education system, but also in the outrageous spending programs that will destroy our economic prosperity. Democrats are trying to sell Americans a bill of goods they don't want, that they can't afford, and with money the country doesn't have. During election years, we often hear the American people ask how they're doing compared to 4 years ago. I would ask them now, how are you doing compared to 10 months ago? Our education system is falling apart. Our southern border is a disaster. Violent crime is skyrocketing across the country. Our botched withdrawal from Afghanistan has diminished our standing on the world stage, and inflation is running rampant. Every action the Biden administration takes is hurting our country. Americans know they're worse off, but Democrats appear to be unaware or apathetic. As I look across the aisle, where are the traditional liberals? If you're still there, it's time to come out of hiding and stand up to the radical progressives who are destroying the very fabric of the country I know you love. Stop listening to the DC and inner city echo chambers. Those are not the voice of America. Show the American people that you are listening to them by standing against divisive rhetoric in our schools, stopping outrageous government spending, and supporting law and order. Yesterday's election should serve as a wake-up call to all who wish to save America from destruction. It's not too late. And with that, I yield back.